Welcome to Basic Salvation Brief number 6. By now, you know that I'm a sinner and a Bible student. You also know that I search for God's answers, not man's answers. In brief number 5, we started looking at the Abrahamic covenant, starting with Genesis chapter 12, verse 1, which says, "Now the Lord had said unto Abram, Get thee out of thy country, and from thy kindred, and from thy father's house, unto a land that I will show thee." Remember, in brief number 5, I told you that God changed Abram's name to Abraham. They are the same person. Verse number 2 says, "And I will make of thee a great nation, and I will bless thee, and make thy name great, and thou shalt be a blessing." In verse number 1, God tells Abraham to get out of his country, away from his family, including leaving his father's house. Abraham was to go to a land that God will show him. Why is God making Abraham leave everything and everyone that he knows and loves and travel to a new land? Abraham's family members were idolaters. They believed in idols, which are false gods, but Abraham did not. God did not want the father of his new chosen people to be surrounded by idolaters. God wanted him to have a fresh start by leaving his sinful family behind. God goes on to tell Abraham that he will begin a great nation and that God will bless him and make his name great. Abraham is going to start and be the head of the Jewish people. At this point, Abraham is 75 years old and his wife is 70. Abraham and his wife Sarah go on to do just that, even though they're in their 70s. God's chosen people, the Jews, are born. Remember the end of Genesis chapter 12, verse 1, God says, "Unto a land that I will show thee." That land is, of course, Israel. God now has his new nation of people growing in their new homeland, Israel. If you remember back in brief number 5, we looked at Exodus chapter 19, verse 6, which says, "And ye shall be unto me a kingdom of priests and a holy nation." We now have a growing nation of Jews in their own land, which one day will become a kingdom of priests. Who is going to be the king ruling over this kingdom of priests? Jesus the Christ. No, I did not misspeak. I meant to say Jesus the Christ. Believe it or not, there are many people that think that Jesus' last name is Christ. Christ in the Hebrew means the Messiah. In the Greek, it means the Savior. Christ is Jesus' title, not his name. So when someone says Jesus Christ, they're saying Jesus the Messiah or Jesus the Savior. That's why you'll sometimes hear me say Jesus the Christ. Where did I get that, you ask? The book of John, chapter 1, verse 41 says, "He first findeth his own brother Simon, and saith unto him, We have found the Messiah," which is being interpreted the Christ. Matthew chapter 1, verse 21 says, "And she shall bring forth a son, and thou shalt call his name Jesus, for he shall save his people from their sins." Those words were spoken by an angel of the Lord. Thou shalt call his name Jesus. Period. No Christ. How do I know that Jesus was going to be the king of this Jewish kingdom of priests? Matthew chapter 2 verse 2 says, saying, Where is he that is born King of the Jews? For we have seen his star in the east, and we are come to worship him. That is the covenant that God made with Abraham, thus the Abrahamic covenant. You can email me at basicsalvationbrief@outlook.com. Until next time, I'm a sinner, and you have been briefed.